Knowing there's a baby on the way means you may well be worrying about countless things, while trying to plan to give your new arrival the best start in life. Being ready for the challenges will help you to enjoy every stage of your baby's life. So in this series, we'll be meeting experts who'll help us to understand and cope with what's to come. Let's take a look at some practical things you can do to support your baby's health and development, and hear from a company that believes that starting a new family should be one of the happiest times of your life. We learned more about them from Edward McCloskey.
WaterWipes is a revolutionary new baby wipe product which is completely chemical free. It's the only baby wipe with no chemicals, no surfactants, emollients, preservatives, chemicals, fragrances, just water. And that's why it's called WaterWipes. What started WaterWipes in the early days was because my business started off 20-something years ago as a manufacturer of cotton wool products. So when our first daughter came along, it was easy as the MD of a cotton wool factory to bring home a boot full of cotton wool every day. But I didn't, because my wife was buying these things called baby wipes, which had never been on my radar as a man before. I wasn't even aware of them in the category. So my daughter then developed quite bad nappy rash, and investigating into this baby wipes and turning over the back of the pack and seeing all the ingredients written on the back, loads of things I couldn't even pronounce. And what's all this stuff we're putting on our skin? So that's actually where the whole idea started. So I knew mums were being recommended to use cotton wool and pure boiled water by healthcare professionals, and I discovered that they weren't, by and large, because it's just too much hassle. So that's how the germ of the idea started, along the lines of, well, why can't there be a product as pure and mild and gentle as cotton wool and water, but as convenient as baby wipes, because they are fantastically convenient. And that's how the idea started. And it took about 5 years of research and development and trials and testing, and then WaterWipes was launched. A newborn baby's skin is 5 times thinner than an adult skin, and when using baby wipes, you use them quite a lot. It's 10 times a day, every day, so that's 70 times a week. So 70 times a week, the chemicals in a conventional baby wipe are being applied to a baby's skin, which is very absorbent, and then the skin is covered by a nappy. It's not rinsed off, and there's no product that an adult would put on their adult skin 70 times a week without rinsing it off. So there really is an issue that most people aren't aware of, and of course most people aren't aware of the ingredients that are in conventional baby wipes. So that's the reason why cotton wool and pure boiled water has been recommended by generations by healthcare professionals and midwives and health visitors and doctors, because of the exposure to chemicals, which is definitely not good for a newborn baby.
At WaterWipes, I'm the in-house microbiologist, so I would be responsible for the quality control department within WaterWipes. So making sure the clean room process runs sufficiently and nothing goes wrong while in the clean room environment, and the manufacture of WaterWipes goes ahead without a hitch. Also, after the product is made, I would be responsible for testing the product in terms of quality and make sure it's okay to go out to the consumer before it's released. Microbiology plays a huge role at WaterWipes because the wipes are manufactured containing no chemicals whatsoever. They don't have the chemical preservatives that conventional baby wipes would have. So the product has to be extensively tested before it's released to make sure it's stable. While studying, I never thought that I would be working on a baby product. But as a scientist, it's extremely interesting to be working with such unique technology in the skincare industry, and also going out to the baby shows and seeing parents and mums-to-be that are so interested and so intrigued by this product. It's very rewarding hearing good stories coming back. Being able to apply your work to a real-life situation and seeing those parents face-to-face that have explained that their kids have had nappy rash, and once changing to WaterWipes that it's disappeared and they've had no problems whatsoever. It's nice to see that the work that you're doing has contributed to that.
Fantastic opportunity to get to help mums-to-be and their families, their extended families, through the transition of becoming a parent. So it means literally from conception, we can provide care up until and including delivering their babies, and up until 6 weeks postnatal, so once the baby's 6 weeks old. I think you're classed as the oracle pretty much to most new parents. There is an infinite amount of information available on the internet, and books are great, and obviously family and friends are a great resource, but as a health professional you're qualified, you're able to access all the relevant evidence and research which is very much a big thing with midwifery. It's all evidence-based practice. And so they trust that the information you're giving them is the correct information, because everything changes constantly. So midwives are continually studying. You know, we might have done our degrees and been to university, but it doesn't stop there. It's year on, year on. We continue to have new research, new findings. So things that we did 10 years ago certainly aren't what we're doing now. Most people access a midwife once they've done their pregnancy test. They will either look to an independent midwife directly, or some will go via the NHS and go to see a GP and to let them know that they've found out that they're expecting a baby. And then that's when the system starts, and your antenatal care can be very varied depending on where you live. But for the majority of people, they'll see a midwife approximately every 4 weeks throughout their pregnancy. And they'll check them over physically, making sure that the baby's growing right, that the mum is, you know, fit and well in herself, and listen to the baby's heartbeat, things like that. So, you've not started packing your bags yet? Have anyone thought about your bags? What you're going to put into them?
Not started yet.
Not started yet. And how many weeks are you?
26.
Okay, so you've got a little while to think about. Anyone near the 35-week mark?
I've packed mine on 37.
Okay, so it'll be interesting for you to see what we're going to talk about going in and what you've actually put in.
I've started mine.
You started yours as well?
I've put too much in though, I can't zip it up.
Oh, okay, then you've definitely put too much in. So you want to take your first size nappies in, and most people would use disposable nappies in the first instance, even if you're going to go on to using reusable nappies later on. Baby's skin is very delicate, so we would suggest that you don't use any form of wipes on a baby if they've got any fragrance in. We ask you to try and stick to using cotton wool and just warm water. However, there are some makes on the market, such as the WaterWipes, and they're 99.9% water-based, so they're perfectly safe for you to use. So, just to recap over what we're putting into our bags. So you've got your changing mat to pop down to put the baby on. You can obviously use the crib that they're sleeping in, but it's nice to put something down so you know that you've got a clean surface wherever you go. You've got your vests. Your vests are ones without arms and without legs. So you're going to have your vest underneath your baby grow. So a baby grow with feet in, so it's going to keep the feet nice and warm, and some of them will come with built-in scratch mitts, so babies will want to explore and they'll want to find their face and find your chest and all different things they're going to be feeling. The built-in scratch mitts mean that that's all included in there. Your blanket for coming home, your nappies. You can see how full it's getting already, and I've only got 4 nappies in there. That's going to last me, you know, half a day if that. So you've got those. So your cotton wool in case you're going to do your cotton wool and warm water, and then obviously your wipes if you're going to go for the wipes instead. There's lots involved. Part of your role as a midwife is to make sure that mum is well, because ultimately the baby side of it is a relatively small aspect of a midwife's care that she develops. You develop a relationship with the mum, you get to know them and how they tick, what's right with them. So you can generally tell if someone's not quite right. You need to look at their diet, their nutrition, making sure that they're looking after themselves. There's a huge amount of changes that the body goes through, and they need to know how to adapt their lifestyle, their exercise program, their nutritional intake according to the changes that are going on with their body. I think, yeah, with everything, you always draw on your own experiences in life. You don't have to be a parent to be a good midwife. You know, you don't have to have had a heart attack to be a good cardiologist, but it definitely helps because you've got that experience to draw on. It's very important, though, not to base your judgments on what happened to you. If there was one hard and fast rule, then you know there'd be some very rich novelist out there that would have written the essential guide to. So what's right for me and my family might be completely inappropriate for another family. So you can draw from that experience, but it's very important to make sure that you're not enforcing your own opinions and views onto somebody else. For all the antenatal education that's available, partners are encouraged to come along. It's just as much an experience for them as it is for the mum that's giving birth. For all of the antenatal classes, we try and involve the partners and the children if they want to come along. Children love coming and having a feel of mummy's tummy and putting the machine on to listen to the sound that the baby makes. So that's a really good way to get the babies involved. We all measure the mum's abdomen, so we measure the tummy, and they quite like doing that. We get the tape measure out and see what number mummy's tummy gets to. So it's quite easy to involve children in, and importantly, after they've had the baby, when you're going in and doing those initial home visits, to make sure that you really involve the sibling to prevent any sibling rivalry.
Join us after the break to find out more.
Why do midwives recommend using water to clean your baby? Because water is completely free from chemicals, preservatives, additives, and fragrances. Consider that on average you clean your baby's skin 70 times a week, and that a newborn baby's skin is 5 times thinner than an adult's. Luckily, there is a baby wipe with just 2 completely natural ingredients, pure water and a drop of fruit extract. WaterWipes, the world's purest baby wipe.
Welcome back. There's no such thing as a perfect parent, or one who can cope entirely alone. Parenting is a job that's to be shared, not just between parents, but with friends and family, and also with government and private organisations that have structures in place to support you. We met with Nicola Joseph from one such organisation.
My name's Nicola Joseph and I'm an independent and NHS health visitor. Health visitors are basically a means of support to parents with children between the age of 0 to 5, even though some health visitors do work with 0 to 19-year-olds, and some health visitors do work with elderly clients as well. It all depends which remit, which trust you work for, or which area you choose to work for. We generally, how can I describe what we do? We do a mixture of some antenatal, some postnatal care. We talk about weaning, we know about sleep, we know about behavioural issues. Basically, anything to do with bringing up your baby and giving them the best kind of, the best way forward in life with support from a healthcare professional. I'm that healthcare professional that will help you to just to support and give information. If I don't know that information, I will find that out from somewhere and bring it back to you. I have to admit, when I first started in this job, because all health visitors are either, we're trained nurses or midwives before we become health visitors. And that was a very different type of role. So I'm a paediatric nurse before I was a health visitor, and obviously you know then that you're working with sick children, they get better, they go home. With this now, you've got babies that are, everything you do, it can't really be quantified, if that makes sense. You go around, you see a mum, you sit, you give them advice, and then you leave. And then they have to deal with it, and they have to kind of make things happen. And it doesn't always go the way they want it to, because babies aren't robots, and you know, they're changeable all the time. So when it does go to plan, it's fantastic. And when it doesn't, I've learnt now that you just have to keep supporting mums and dads, and it's a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic. Okay. So Kelly, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
How's things with Harley?
Yeah, he's doing really well at the moment. He's teething, so
okay.
He's getting a little bit restless.
And is that encroaching on his sleep? Is it? Or is
because his urine's really, really strong.
Okay.
So he gets a lot more wet nappies, and he's just disturbed in his sleep. He's just, he was sleeping all the way through, but he's not now.
And are you giving him more milk or some water to help?
Yeah, I upped the bedtime one because I thought that might be ways waking up, and so far it's been all right.
Okay. And is that meaning that you're having to change nappies more frequently through the night?
It's just very, very strong, so you can smell him.
Yeah.
So I'm having to change it through the night, which disturbs him as well.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously it's best not to leave that nappy on if it's really, really soaked. So how are you getting on with motherhood in general? How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's a shock, because I think when you're pregnant, you're more bothered about the birth and you're not really thinking about what's going to come afterwards. Yeah. And then it's just like, it's like a military operation. You have to be so organised with everything. Yes.
Yeah. Like trying to get out of the house, right?
Oh, getting out of the house. It's just like bottles, nappies, baby. If you've got everything that you need, otherwise you're going to get cut short if you haven't.
So, the feedback that I've had from parents, they do find it a valuable source, just having one person who gives them information in kind of a non-teacher-like way. So you don't make parents feel silly because they don't know this information, because why would they know this information? You're a brand new parent, and you know, at the end of the day, as I say to parents, I went to university to learn all of this, and then I've been practicing this for a long time. So what I know is going to be very different. I said, if I was sat in your place, it would be different for me too. So I do think it's definitely welcomed. A lot of the one-to-one work definitely helps, but also the groups. It's just basically informing parents and giving them choice. Because even though there is a lot of services out there and there's groups and lots of things you can do, not all parents know how to access that information or where to get it from. And sometimes there's too much information. So I think just to have that continuity from one person, and to have one person in your life who knows what they're talking about, can give you that support that you can access and tap into when you need to, doesn't make you feel kind of bad if you've got it wrong or if you don't know. I think it's a mixture. There's no one thing that I could pick that would be the best. Every aspect of just helping and supporting and just giving that information, I think, helps. So things you should make sure you have are your towel, a nappy for afterwards, and some wipes, because if she's done a poo or she's soiled or she's wet, you want to make sure you can clean that away before you put her in the bath. Okay, so once you've got all your bits together, also make sure the room is quite warm. So if you've got windows open, because she's going to be naked, obviously you want her to, you want the room to be a nice temperature. And then you place baby in. This is kind of cheating, I think, because you've got a little seat in there for baby to sit alongside. And then baby goes in, and you can either use a little flannel. I think I have one here. I did have one. Or you can just use your hands, as long as they're clean, and you will just put some water over baby. You don't have anything in the water, wipe them down with the water, and then you'll take baby out. Bring baby out, wrap them in a towel. These towels now that they've got have little hood bits so you keep their head dry. Wrap them up. This baby looks quite happy after their bath. Some health visitors do prescribe. And that very much also depends on the trust you work in, because nurses are allowed to prescribe now, and that's what we come under as community nurses. But it's a smaller remit of things, and it's more creams and ointments and things like that you could prescribe. So you'd be helpful for a mum if you could prescribe a cream instead of her having to then go to the GP and having to get that prescription. And so it's just freeing up more time for a parent, making it more convenient.
It's pretty much that the midwife and the health visitor are going to be their main port of calls. You've got your GP there for any medical issues that may be going on that between the midwife and the health visitor they're not able to deal with. But then outside of that, it's external groups. It's really important for mums, especially if you're a first-time mum, because that transition from being an individual and a person to being a parent is a massive transition. And a baby doesn't talk back to you. A baby is all demanding and can just, needs from you permanently, and there's nothing coming back other than that, you know, amazing bond and that love. But they're not going to have a conversation with you, and it can be, you know, when you've been used to going to work and chatting to all your colleagues, that can be a really hard transition. So it's really important for the girls to get themselves along to a new mums group and meet a new circle of friends that they can say, you know, pick up the phone, the weather's great, let's go for a walk and have a coffee.
Sleep deprivation, I think, is that's the killer every time. You just, as much as people say that you're going to be tired, no one can kind of, until you feel it, you cannot fully understand it. I mean, I've been health visiting for a long time, and I've said to a lot of parents that you're going to be tired, but until I actually went through it myself, I can really understand it now. I can empathise completely now, because it's a never-ending tired, if that makes sense. And even though you're so happy and you're overwhelmed, the tiredness changes everything in your life. It changes how you think about things, it changes your memory, it changes how you do things, what information you take in. So even things like when you see mums on their first visit, you'll give them all this information, but you know that on the next visit when you see them, you probably have to go through all that information again, because it's overwhelming and it's a lot to take in. But yeah, definitely sleep deprivation.
Three main things. They can't imagine the impact that the baby has with regards to things like washing and housework, because they think it's just one small thing, you know, it can't make that much difference, and you can't imagine how many times you put your washing machine on in a week.
I think in fact there's probably lots of things that parents don't. They have an idea in their heads, both the mum to be and the father to be, and then when the reality comes along, there are so many things that are really quite different, quite shockingly different. But every parent, every family goes through that experience. So there are lots of practical things like food and sleep and taking care of the baby's skin, of course, which is my area of interest. And as they grow older, education, and there's a million things that you mightn't think about when this bundle of joy is coming into the world.
New babies are demanding, and meeting their needs can be extremely stressful. On average, parents lose around 2 months of sleep in the first year of their baby's life. Meeting a new baby's basic needs, feeding, bathing, helping them sleep, can consume a lot of time. It can't be overestimated how big an impact on a child's overall development these early days can have.